My name's Tom McBurnie. I built the cars on Miami Vice. Of my first 4 cars, the number 1 car, the Prototype, ended up being the stunt car and of Miami Vice. And the number 4 car was the hero car. And it was the first car that I painted black. The stunt car was originally painted dark Ferrari red. My first car was that I designed completely. It was called Scepter, and I built 14 of those cars. I worked with many cars, and I met a guy by the name of Dick Thompson who introduced me to a fellow in Manhattan Beach, Al Mardikian. He wanted someone to build a Cobra for him. When I gave him the proposal, it was about the same price as one that he had rejected from somebody else. But when I walked into a showroom, there was a white Daytona Spider. I had to walk past that to go to his office. And when he said no to the Cobra project, I said, well, why don't we do a Daytona? And he said, well, what would you build it on? And I said, a Camaro, because the proportions are about right for a Camaro. And he said, no, it has to be independent, rear suspension. And I said, well, that's the only thing it can be is a Corvette. He gave me the Daytona, and I had it for a little over a year. The funny thing is that the Daytona was on consignment, so he didn't own it. He had to explain to the owner that had that car on consignment why it wasn't in the showroom. He bought a '76 Corvette that he gave me to build the first replica Daytona. When I got the Corvette, it was, like I said earlier, it was a '76 Corvette. It was a white one. It was a T-top. It was not a convertible. The first thing I did is I took apart the Corvette and kind of measured the frame and the width of the windshield and the wheelbase. The Daytona was 92-inch wheelbase. The Corvette was 98. Then I needed to look at the Daytona parts. What I did is I took all the parts off of the Daytona. So I took the Ferrari headlights out, I took the bumpers out, and I took the grille out. I took the taillights and the rear bumper and things like that off the car so I could see the body shape. And then I kind of sketched what was going to happen on the Corvette and made fiberglass parts that I then put on the Corvette and started bonding. Mr. Mardikian wanted the car to be very close to the original. He provided to me the Ferrari external parts. So he gave me bumpers, taillights, grille, side marker lights, and the complete side marker light assembly. I made all those fit, and I made the body panels, and I got it to ready to paint stage. That was my first car, and I delivered that to Albert, and he took it to a paint shop and had it painted the dark Ferrari red, and then it was introduced as the Mardikian 350 GTS. When Albert had his coming out party for his Mardikian 350 GTS, he invited all of the people that were customers of his to the grand opening at the Balboa Bay Club. One of his customers was Dan Haggerty. That was Grizzly Adams. And Haggerty knew either Michael Mann or the people in transportation that were looking for cars for Miami Vice. And he was the man that told them about the Daytona that I had built, the Mardikian 350. When the series seemed to be successful, then they bought it. And once they bought it, of course they knew they needed a stunt car, and they ended up buying the first car. And the first car was nuts. I mean, it had all this wood interior, and it had a Gale Banks twin turbo engine, and it had the most expensive stereo you could put in it, and all that they took out and put it back to something that they could use as a stunt car. I had shown a couple cars, and in the meantime, and was building 3 or 4 cars when Miami Vice came out, and then it was crazy. Orders from everybody. I built 92 complete cars, including the 4 for Albert. And I built a little over 350 kits. Miami Vice was good advertising for me. And it was the hottest TV program at the time.